Sunday morning yoga. Wherever you are, go ahead and place one hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen. So again, if you're just coming in, elevate, oh hi Maria, yes, so put the block under your sacrum if you have that. And then let your knees be in any position that feels supportive to you. One hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen. Breathe in and fill up the space between your body and your hand. Expand the breath. And then empty out. Notice if you're clenching anywhere, your glutes, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. Try to let go of all physicality for a moment and just let the body breathe itself. While we kind of explore how the body is on this Sunday morning. Early for some, late for others. And while you lie here just connecting, it may be an intention that you have today for yourself, for the universe, for other people who need your energies, and you can direct the energy outward. And take 2 more full rounds of breath. It's a complete inhale and a complete exhale. Again, expanding through belly, ribs, and chest. And then open your arms to a cactus. So elbows in line with your shoulders, hands above the elbows. Open your palms up, and then if your knees are not bent, bend the knees and take the knees in towards each other. Notice that you might have a little bit more expansion now in the upper mid-back. Try not to arch the lower back. So just breathe up and out across the body without arching your back to do the movement. You shouldn't have to. And as you continue to breathe, stretch your arms all the way over your head. The arms could be bent. They don't have to be straight or certainly not locked. Turn your knees upright, so line up your heels with your sitting bones. Take a hold of your left wrist with your right and pull it over to the right side. Inhale to the center and take the other arm. Listen. We're on our backs on a block. If you can get there, we're not going to be there too much longer. Grab a hold of the right wrist with the left hand and just stretch over to the left side. And again, soften through the glutes. Don't start to clench up in that area. Inhale, release the arms. They're over your head. Soft elbows. Press your heels into the floor. Press your shoulders into the floor. And float your hips either off the floor or off the block. Exhale, bring the hands down, move the block off to the side if you had it. Stay in your bridge for one more breath as the arms reach towards the heels. Exhale, articulate your spine down, all the way to the floor, and then hug your knees all the way to your chest. Rock on your spine, make circles on your spine. And then reverse the circles. Come back to the center. Keep your right leg in and lower your left leg. Take your left hand and guide the right leg across the body. Gaze out to the right side. Keep the right shoulder down as best you can. Don't force it. Inhale back to your center. Bring both knees back to the chest. Exhale, lower your right leg to the floor. Hold on to the left knee. Inhale, take your right arm and guide the left leg across the body. Inhale, return to your back. Left knee in, right knee in. Exhale, lift your head and shoulders up. And then either rock and roll yourself to sitting or find another way to get there. Come onto your hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Just go ahead and have your blocks on either side of the mat as you get there. Spread your fingers, press the heel of the hand down, top of the shin pressing down, top of the foot, your pedicure pressing down. Your back is flat like a table, so draw the belly and ribs towards the hips. From here, tuck your tailbone underneath you and find a really big, rounded cat spine. Shake your head like yes and no, or just get rid of any tension. Inhale, arch your back, dip your belly. You can tuck the toes or not. Broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, round and curl, tuck the tailbone underneath you. Inhale, arch your back, dip your belly, broaden your collarbones. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, find neutral between the two extremes, so your back is back into that tabletop. Stretch your right arm to the front of your mat and reach it out in front of you, thumb up to the ceiling. And then inhale, bring the arm up and around, back behind you. Make some circles, but add into it some hip movement. So rotate the right shoulder around, move the hips back to the heels, and then just reverse the arm movement back around to the front. One more is going to keep your right arm up in the air, look at it. Exhale, bring it underneath your left arm, back of your head towards the floor. Left arm in front of you, hips high in the sky. Stay with the breath. Find your space. Press down firmly through your left palm. Inhale, bring your right arm to meet your left arm. Hips are still in the air. Drop your chin, chest to the floor. Press firmly through your hands and lift the underarms up and around so you've got some stability in the shoulder. Press back to your heels for a child's pose. Let your belly soften in between your two thighs. And then inhale yourself back to your hands and knees, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Send your left arm, walk it forward, thumb up by the ear, or arm by the ear, thumb up to the sky. Start to make circles backwards with the arm, and then add in your hips. I like to tuck my toes under here. I don't know, I just think it's my knees. Big circular motion, as big as your arms will go, and then reverse the circle backwards. And then stay up, inhale, turn your left palm open. Exhale, send your left arm under your right, flip the palm up to the sky. Back of the head to the floor, right arm reaches forward, and reach in like two different directions. Keep your hips elevated, right over your knees. One more breath. Keep the right arm as it is. Exhale, bring your left arm to meet it out in front of you. Chin and chest, or forehead and chest towards the floor. Hips up in the air, breathe. Inhale, push back to child's pose. Exhale, extended child's pose. Arms are out in front of you. Again, the belly softens in between the thighs. Spread your fingers, push the heel of the hand down, and really feel some action under your arms and supporting around your shoulders. Inhale, rise back up to hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, hips and shoulders width apart. Step your right foot to the back of the mat, tuck the toes underneath you, and again, level out your hips. So pull the belly into the spine, and then lift the right leg off the floor, toes down. Imagine that you're kicking the wall behind you out away from you. And then keeping your hips level, slide your left arm out again, reach right arm, left leg long. So there's a tendency to kind of dump into your lower back here. Pull your belly up and in, draw your ribs towards your hips. Then now bend your right knee, flex the foot, and then tap your left hand to your right ankle, and then extend arm and leg again. Let's do that again. Bend the knee, reach back, tap. Very good. And release it. Reach back and tap. Some of you will stay back here and hold on to the foot. Kick the foot up and away. Open up your heart, your chest. You know, all options are available. Hands can be down, and your knee can be lifted, or any other variations. Release the foot, release the arm, lengthen in two directions. Put the left hand down and spin open to your right side. Right arm over your shoulder, right leg in line with your hip, pressing out of the left side body. You can also put your right foot to the floor. Inhale, stretch your right arm overhead, palm down. Spin your torso open. Good, one more breath. Bend your right leg, reach your right arm back and grab it if you can. If you can't, don't worry. Kick the heel into the hand. Open up the chest, shoulders. Lift out of your left waistline. Now, if you can hold on to your right ankle here, stay holding on. If not, don't worry about it and just bring your right foot forward up to the top of your mat. Take your hands on the blocks. Walk your left knee back further. If you need to pad your knee, put something underneath it. And just pull your shoulders back and down. Inhale. And exhale. Sink your hips lower. Good. Broaden your collarbones. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. Find some firmness into the right heel. So imagine that you're pulling the right heel towards your left side, or towards the back of the room. Keep your left hand down, slide your right arm out again, thumb up. Good, reach the arm back, reach it to the back of the room, and just for now, just lift the heel of the left leg, or the shin of the left leg off the floor, but you don't have to touch it. So just open to the right side, but say hello hamstrings. You might start to feel those. Good, one more breath as you exhale that breath. Right arm comes back around to the block, left leg comes down, tuck the toes, and straighten both legs and fold over. Now straight is relative. My legs are not straight. Here you can take your blocks higher and maybe even further back, particularly if your hamstrings are a little bit tighter. You should make sure that you're not on a tightrope, but you're rather on maybe train tracks. Draw the right hip back and the left hip forward. And then lift the right hip up just a little bit to be more level. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale and fold as you exhale. One more breath. Good. Inhale, rebend your front knee, lower your left knee to the floor. Place your hands down on the floor blocks where they came from. And then step back to your knees on the floor and back into child's pose, extended child's pose. Inhale, return to your hands and knees. Good. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Send your left leg to the back of the mat, tuck the toes, and level out your hips. Good. Lift the left leg off the floor, engage the abs, so just draw the navel point up. Stretch your right arm out in front of you, thumb up to the sky. And then bend your left knee, kick the heel to the sky. Good. Exhale, tap your right hand to your left ankle, and then extend arm and leg. Inhale. Exhale, tap arm and leg. Inhale, come back. This time we're going to hold it if we have it. Hold on, or just reach towards, kick the foot up and away from you. Broaden through your collarbones. If you're not holding on, just kick the leg with some energy. One more breath. Exhale, releases it. Right arm out, left arm forward, left leg back. Right arm down, spin to your left side. Left leg in line with your hip towards the outer edge of the back of your mat. Left arm comes up over your shoulder. Lift the right side of your body up and in. And then take your left arm up and over your head. Reach with energy. One more breath. Inhale, bring your left arm up, bend your left leg, and see if you can grab a hold of the foot. You don't have to. Right? All these are suggestions. You know, it's like taking a trip. Do you want to take this road or that road? What road works for you best? Get you more successfully to your destination. Hold on to your ankle if you can. Turn yourself back around and step your left foot all the way forward. Move your right knee back. Place your hands back onto the blocks. Pull your shoulders back and down. And breathe. Find some space between your belly and your thigh. Imagine that you're pulling your left heel back to your right knee. Shoulders away from ears, broadening again the collarbones. Good. Inhale, take your left arm forward. This is the theme, right? Take the left arm back, bend the right knee, but don't grab it just yet. Turn your torso to the left. So you got a little bit more hamstring action going on. I say that with a snarl because very few of us like that. One more breath. Exhale, hand down, toes down, tuck the right toes under. Lift your right knee and straighten your left leg. You can walk your blocks up to a higher height and out in front or closer to you. And again, draw the left hip back, right hip forward, and level it out. Inhale. And exhale, begin to fold. You can press the right heel to the floor or stay a little higher on the toes. It's also kind of, sometimes just where our bodies need to be. So we're going to pull the left hip up and drop the right hip down as we level out the pelvis. Yeah. Inhale, release your left knee, lower your right knee, and then step back, arms out in front. Child's pose, reach out and back at the same time. Find depth and energy through your body. Inhale to your hands and knees, tuck your toes underneath you. Lift your knees off the floor. Keep your knees bent as you lift your hips in the air. Keep your knees bent all together for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, begin to straighten one leg at a time, walk into it. I tend to keep my knees bent in a downward facing dog. And when downward facing dog feels a little challenging on your hands and your wrists, just go back down to your knees as much as you need to. And if it feels good, stay with it. Find some stillness. Again, I keep my knees softly bent, maybe not so soft, maybe a little bit wider or deeper. But I take some of the pressure off. Shifting the weight away from your hands, so make sure, again, the underarms are active, the ribs are pulled in, all the things we've already practiced. Rise high up on your tippy toes. We're going to measure out the length of our down dog into a plank. So shift into a plank, top of a push-up, belly is lifted. Yeah, if you do Bikram, you might never get these poses. So, welcome to plank, welcome to vinyasa. Belly is pulled up and in, knees lift up. Exhale, lift your hips in the air, downward facing dog. Legs can be soft or straight, never locked. Inhale, walk your hands to your feet at the back of your mat. Soften your knees when you get there. Widen your hips, about hips width or maybe a little bit wider. Let your body fold in half and let your head just reach down towards the floor. Right now we're supported with our hands on the floor, so if you can't get your hands on the floor, bend your knees more. And then shift the weight so the hips are over the heels. And the weight shifts more into the balls of your feet. Inhale, come to your fingertips. Look forward and place your hands on your hips. Your back is flat, your knees are soft. And with a flat back, rise up to stand. Lower the arms down by your side. Inhale, roll the shoulders back up and around. Spread your palms open. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Back and around behind you. So just slightly behind you, palms are facing outward. Lift your chest up, tuck your tailbone under. So again, some people will just come here and dump totally into the lower back. So stay lifted in your upper back, keep the shoulders down, but reach the arms back behind you. Shift your weight to your left leg and lift your right knee into the air. Flex your right foot. Exhale, bend your right knee so the knees are together. Kick the heel behind you. Inhale, bring the right knee to the chest. Extend it out. Lori likes this, I'll take it with her. It's her birthday. Step forward, but we're going to step the feet together now. Relax your arms, just let them go for a minute. Okay, inhale, roll your shoulders back and around. Stretch your arms back behind you, palms facing forward. Shift your weight into your right leg, left heel lifts. Left knee lifts, balance. Just work on hugging the right hip in. Then bring the left knee by the right knee, kick the heel back, just like we did on our knee before, where we reached for our foot, but we didn't hold on to the foot. So the hamstring is gonna, some of us may have crampy hamstrings. Don't try to hold on to it at this point, just kick it. And then, if you wobble, so be it. Come back to center, lift the knee up, extend the leg out. Step the leg forward, step your right leg to meet your left leg, bring your hands down by your side, let them go. You should be at the top of your mat. If you're not, take a few steps. Reach your arms down, pull your shoulders back and around again. Firm up your legs, big toe, little toe, ball of the foot, lift your kneecaps up. Take your tailbone underneath you, level out your pelvis, and broaden across your collarbones. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up and over your head. Interlace your fingers, turn the palms inside out and upside down. Exhale, take it over to the right side, just lifting out of your waistline, stretching the left side of your body long, hug your hips in. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it over to the other side. Good. Inhale back to the center, lift your heart. Like we started, bend your arms and cactus them. Lift your heart up like there's a string at your sternum pulling you up and back without going into your lower back. One more breath here. Bring your hands to your back, fingers in either direction. More of a wrist stretch in one way than the other. Lifting up through the upper back. Exhale, hinge forward. Fold down again, soften the knees. Slide the arms down the back of your hamstrings. And then place your hands on the floor or onto your blocks. Inhale with a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale with a halfway lift. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. Low lunge. So bring the hands with you underneath your shoulders or on your blocks. Left heel pulls back towards the right heel. Drop your hips level to the floor. Back knee is lifted, back foot is active, right? So you're on the ball of the back foot, heel is lifted over the toes. Come to your fingertips and hover your fingers off the floor. Yeah. Reach your arms back behind you. Broaden your collarbones. Just like we did standing a moment ago. Now, we're going to put a soft bend in the back knee as we reach the arms all the way back up. Drop your shoulders down, come down a little lower, and decide, do you want to straighten your back leg or not? Inhale. And exhale. Now, keep the arms up, biceps as close to the ears as you can. As you begin to hinge forward, reach in two directions like a thunderbolt. And then on the exhaling breath, put the hands on the floor, straighten your left leg. Turn your right toes on their side. Take your left block, if you have a block or books, on the outside of your left shin. So if you don't have a block, you're going to place your hands a little higher up your leg, but not on your knee. Draw your right arm up and open, stacking shoulders. Breathe in, breathe out. So, good. That's good, Virginia. Good. Nice, Karen. Good, guys. Oh, you look so good. Triangle pose, but let's do a little experiment with triangle. Take your right arm to the sky. Look down at your left toes. Inhale, rise up with straight legs. Right arm down, left arm up. Bump your right hip towards your left knee and just side stretch. Inhale, rise up. Arm shoulder height. Good. So, bump your right hip so that your pelvis is level. Right hip down, left hip up. Start with that positioning. Firm into your legs. Some of you may even choose to shorten your stance. Now bump your right hip back. Reach out as far as you can go. And take your left hand down again. And ideally, you might have a little bit more space through the side body. Look up. Press firmly into your feet. Tuck your tailbone underneath you. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Good. Empty the breath. Look down. Put your right hand to your right hip. Soften your left knee. You can take your block with you. And bring your left hand either in front of your left foot or to the side of it under your shoulder. Float your right leg off the floor. Stay straight here for now. So first work on opening up the hip. We did this on our knee before. Good. If you are putting your hand onto a block, just make sure that you're not dumping your weight in your shoulder there. Now, Maria, get the top leg a little bit more on top of the bottom leg. Rotate the hip, the pelvis, yeah. Nice. All right, so half moon. Keep your right arm up in the air, or bring it if it's not there. Bend your right knee, don't grab for it, just bend it. Pull the left hip in. Try to keep your shoulder and hip in the same line. And then extend the right leg. Bend your left knee. Step way back with your right leg. Inhale, reverse your arms. Left arm up, right arm down. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Turn your hips forward. Pause. Inhale. Exhale, plank and pause. Shoulders over wrists. You can bring your knees to the floor. Look forward. Bend your elbows halfway and pause. And then roll over your toes and pause. Downward facing dog. So those of us, sometimes myself included, who don't have a lot of strength in our push-ups in particular, right? Especially a tricep push-up like a chaturanga, we rush through the movements, so we'll never get stronger if we just rush through them, or we collapse into them. So let's avoid that. Inhale and exhale. Good. Come up onto your toes, bend your knees, look forward, take yourself to the top of the mat. Halfway lift when you get there. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, bring your arms up all the way overhead. Exhale, take prayer to the heart. Inhale, release your arms. Exhale, stay. Good. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold again. Find that length. Inhale, halfway lift. Step your left foot to the back of the mat. Nice, big, generous step. Hands under shoulders. Right thigh parallel to the floor. Inhale. And exhale. You're on the ball of the back foot. Your heel is lifted over your toes. Your right thigh perhaps is parallel to the floor. Hug your right hip in. Breathe in. And now let your fingertips hover off the floor. So notice what has to activate to do that. And then rise up, bend the back knee. Lift the arms up overhead. Send your hips low. Send your heart open. And then if you want, you can straighten the back leg. You don't have to, but think about pulling your right hip back and in, heel towards the back leg. One more breath here. Good, now hinge forward. Just find that line from fingertip to toes to heels. Good, nice, Virginia, breathe in. Empty the breath, everybody, hands to the floor, straighten your right leg. And again, bump the right hip back, the left hip forward, and then drop the left hip down or the right hip up a little bit to level the pelvis. Fold a little deeper, one more time, breathe in, breathe out. Good. Now, take your block on its highest height outside your right shin. Turn your left toes on their side, about 11 o'clock on a clock in front of you. Stretch your left arm all the way up your body and lift it up in the air so the shoulders are on top of each other. Hips open out to the left side. Good. And so again, in a Bikram class, their triangle is with a bent knee. They call it bent knee triangle. This is traditional triangle. Rotate your torso, lift your knees up, firm your legs. So firm your feet into the earth, the first point of connection, right? And stability. Good, look down at your right toes. Inhale, bring yourself up, left arm down, right arm up, straight legs. Bump your left hip towards your right thigh. Lift out of the waistline. Inhale, rise to stand and bring your arms just in line with your shoulders. And now, bump your left hip forward and your right hip up so that your pelvis is a little bit more level. You might have to shorten your stance. Inhale, now bump your left hip back and reach out of your torso. So keep the energy and the length in the torso as the right hand again comes down onto the block. If you have it, if not, it's above or below your knee, but never on the knee. And then we tilt the pelvis and open up the heart, breathe. Inhale and exhale. Good. Look down at your right foot, bend your right knee a little bit, put your left hand on your hip. You can take the block or whatever you have with you as you bring your right hand in front or to the side, and it doesn't matter how many steps it takes you to get there, by the way. Open up your torso, stack your shoulders, hips. When you feel stable, you can lift your left arm in the air. You can look up if it makes it, the balance still there for you. And then bend your left leg, your top leg, kick your heel towards your buttocks. As you do that, keep rotating your torso open so you stack your hips. Freedom in your hips. Good. Look at you, Virginia, like you're balancing there. Cool. If your leg is bent, extend it slowly. Soften the front leg. Step back gently, right into a reverse warrior. Left arm down, right arm up. Inhale, return to the front, hands to the floor. Pause in your lunge. Exhale, step into a plank and pause. So in the pause, you take another breath. Shift forward, bend your knees if you'd like to. Exhale, come down halfway, pause. And then roll through on the top of your toes or on your knees. And then find your way to downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, rise onto your tippy toes, bend your knees. Look towards the front of your mat. Take yourself all the way back to the top of your mat. Halfway lift when you get there. Hands on the floor, blocks your shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach out with your heart. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, take the prayer into your heart center. Release your arms by your side. Take a moment, take a breath. Settle in. Find some grounding in your feet now. Find the energy in your feet. Inhale, stretch your shoulders up and back. Bring the arms behind you. Bend your right knee as you shift the weight into the left leg. Hug your left hip in. Begin to float your right leg off the floor. Come a little closer. Good, now bring the knees together. Flex your right foot, reach your arms back. Some of you will grab with two hands to your right foot. Flex the right foot, and then perhaps kick the foot up and back. Open up the chest and shoulders even more. Inhale. Yeah, don't worry if you wobble. Try to keep the hips level. So if you go back so far that your knee opens out to the side, back off. Now, let go of your foot, but keep the leg behind you. Begin to extend the leg behind you. Coming into a warrior 3. And then step all the way back. Arms open up, reverse your triangle. So it's a straight leg in front. Inhale, rise up, stand up tall, bump your hips level, and then reach out with your torso as you bump the hip back. Triangle pose. One more time. One more triangle. Because you can. Big toe presses down because it's truthfully my favorite pose in yoga. Hug the hip underneath you. Now, you can keep your arm up or put it back on your hip as you bend your front knee and we revisit half moon. So now, third time we're in it. Well, the first time was on our knees. Second time with balance. Stay strong. You can stay right where you are. Or you can bend your knee and even now, see if you want to go behind you and grab a hold of the ankle. Once you do that, the shoulders go back on top of each other, the hip opens up, and the knee points back. Good. A bound half moon called Shavasana. If you're holding on, gently let go. Right arm goes back in the air. Soften your left knee. And step way back with a bent leg into a reverse warrior. Inhale, release your hands to the floor.
Pause. I'm going to make you pause today, sorry. Inhale, look forward. Step back to plank and pause. Just to build a little extra heat and energy. Shift forward, bend your elbows and pause. Remember, you take the breath on that pause. Inhale, pull through, push through your hands and the tops of your feet. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, high up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward. Bring yourselves to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, bring your arms up overhead. Exhale, take the prayer to the heart, release your arms by your side. Find firmness in your legs. It's your foundation. In any standing pose, it's either one or two legs, it could be some hands. Roll the shoulders back and around. So pull the arms back behind you a little bit. Put your weight into your right leg and hug your right hip in. Float your left leg up and into the air. Exhale, bend your left knee by your right knee. And then see if you want to reach down with one or two hands. Flex the foot. Stay here or begin to extend chest and leg. And again, if the left hip opens out to the left side, just bring it in a little bit closer. Don't worry about how far you go with it, especially today. Good. Yeah, good, good, good. Then with some grace, let go of the foot, release the arms, extend the leg, extend the hip, extend the chest forward. Warrior 3 pose. Warrior 3, we're going to step back all the way, reverse the arms in a straight leg, reverse triangle. Inhale, stand up tall, shoulders over hips. Exhale, hinge forward, right hand outside on the shin, wherever you are for the triangle. Not our longest hold of the triangle, just getting us into placement for the same pose, but one leg is off the floor. So either keep your left arm in the air or put it back down to your hip. Soften your right leg and begin to take your right arm in front of your foot or on the side underneath your shoulder. Turn your shoulders, hips open to the left side. So try not to let the leg go higher or behind you or in front of you. Bend your left knee if you'd like. And if you'd like, maybe grab a hold of the ankle, pull the knee back in line with the hip, heel behind you, open your torso, breathe. Hug your right hip nice and firm. Now, we don't want to boomerang our legs, so slowly let go of it. Release the foot, release the arm. And again, the arm can come on your hip or stay up. Bend your right knee. Keep the knee bent this time. Pull back, and now we reverse warrior. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor, spin it around. Pause in your lunge. Good. Inhale, step back. Exhale, pause in your plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, pause in your chaturanga. Knees down or not. Lift your heart, pull your heart through. And this time, bend your knees to the floor and push back to child's pose. Release your arms by your side, palms face up. Let your belly rest on top or in between your thighs. Chin to chest, forehead to knees. Get a hold of your ankles. Separate your feet a little bit wider. For this, you really do want to have your chin tucked into your chest and your forehead really is touching your knees. And then lift the hips up and round your back. Pull your belly in. Round your spine. There should be no weight on your head, by the way, right? So this is going to be weight in your shins, the top of your foot, but not your head. One more breath and really pull the belly deep up into the spine here. Exhale, lower your hips to your heels and just rest. Inhale, extend your arms forward. Walk all the way out. Walk onto your hands and knees and come onto your belly. Bring the elbows in by your side. Squeeze the elbows in, shoulders back and down. Widen your legs a little bit wider for now, top of the foot, shin down. And then keep your forehead down, bring your arms by your side. Just like we did before, the palms are gonna face the floor. So the shoulders are back. Now lift your chest up, reach your hands back towards your feet. Lift away, push your pubic bone down, reach your arms to your feet. Now energize your legs, listen carefully. Just lift your knees off, press through the tops of your feet. So your legs are still on the floor, but your knees are elevated. Exhale, come down, turn your left ear to the floor, let your toes turn in, let your shoulders drape open. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Turn your head to the center, palms down again. Inhale, lift your chest. Press firmly through the top of the foot so the knees are lifted. Then float the legs off if you want, and reach your arms back if you want. Keep the crown of the head in line with the spine. I'm just looking up at you, but basically you should be looking down and in front. Pull your shoulders back, reach your arms back, and either stay there or bend your knees and catch your feet. Lift your legs off the floor. Kick your heels away from you. Bring your knees together. They're going to want to splay open for a lot of us. Big breath in. Find a little bit more height in both directions. Beautiful. Exhale, let it go. Release your hands, right ear to the floor. Shoulders drape open, toes turn pigeon-toed. Inhale, return to the center. Bring your hands by your chest. Walk your hands back a hand. Bring your feet a little closer. Press firmly through the heel of the hand and the top of the foot. Lift your chest, lift your thighs, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look between your hands, and somehow bring yourself to sitting down between your two sides. Good. And then extend your legs out in front of you. Lift up the flesh from underneath your sitting bones. Sit up nice and tall, staff pose, Dandasana. So your arms are by your knees or maybe by your hips, wherever you can find the most length in your spine. Or even behind you, right? Good. Inhale, stretch your arms out in front of you and palms face each other about the width of your block. So if you're not sure, you can hold on to your block, right? And if you are holding on to your block, make it energized. Squeeze the arms towards each other. Good. Inhale. I'll turn to the side a little bit. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest and round your back. Keep squeezing the block, even if it's imaginary block, especially if it's an imaginary block. Bring your chin into your chest, start to roll down. Now keep your legs energized as you roll down slowly, one vertebrae at a time, so you don't miss the middle back and go straight to the shoulders. You go down all the way slow, 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 until you're on your back. If you have a block, bend your knees. Take your block underneath your hips as you lift your hips into bridge. So support yourself with your block or your bolster or blankets, whatever you have, again, to elevate the pelvis and let your body weight just surrender onto the block. Bend one knee at a time into a tabletop position. So here, watch your knees over your hips, not to your belly. So you're in L shape. Relax. You should feel some core activation. And then extend one leg up, and then the other. Feet are over hips. So many of us in space don't really know where we are. So most of you will move your feet away from your face a little bit so that your legs are right on top of your hips. Just like when we stand, our hips are on top of our legs, our feet. Stretch your arms over your head. Bend the elbows as much as you need to. Legs up the wall pose. So this, by the way, you can use the wall. And highly recommend it anytime you can to get your legs up on the wall and invert. A safe inversion, a wonderful restorative inversion. Nonetheless, an inversion, legs are higher than the heart.
Good. Now let's lower the arms by our side, palms face up. Keep the right leg up, bend the left knee, put it onto the floor, and then you decide if you're going to stay there or slide the left leg out in front of you and get a little bit more stretch into the front of the hip on the left side. You can hold on to your right hamstring or your calf, wherever you can reach, as long as you try to keep that leg a little bit longer. And not only are you bringing it towards you, but you're lifting it up out of the hip. You're not lifting your hips off the block. It's just a lot of work on the inside just to bring the leg towards the sky. Inhale, bend your right knee to your chest. Exhale, bend your left knee to your chest. Extend both legs back in the air. Remember, move them a little bit more forward than you think. Bend your right knee and put it on the foot on the floor. Hold on to your left leg. Now you can start drawing it in a little closer, but if your knee is really bent, just keep it a little bit straighter. Don't go so far back. And as you bring the leg towards you, you're also lifting it up out of the hip. Not lifting the hip off the block. So we get a little bit intimate with our body and learn how to make these movements happen, sometimes all on the inside. Now, if it feels okay for you on your right leg to stretch it out, on your back, I should say, or your hip, then stretch the right leg out and keep bringing the leg towards you and up in the air, feeling a little release in the pelvis. One more breath. Release your hands and let your left leg come down, either bend it or straighten it out, both legs in front of you. If two legs out in front of you is too extreme on your back, start to bend your legs in a little bit more. Stretch again the arms overhead. You can make them cactus or straight. Soften your glutes and let your body weight or the pelvis weight just sink into the block. So also recommend, if you're getting blocks, that you get the softer ones, not too soft, but the cork ones are a little bit hard on our bodies. So just think about the traditional soft but not mushy blocks. 4 to 6 inches. Good. Bend your knees, and like we started, take your feet wide, bring your knees together, and this time just cross your right arm over your left arm and grab the backs of your shoulders. Hug. All we need is love. So love yourselves first and foremost. Inhale, open arms and legs. Exhale, bring your knees together, left arm on top of right, hug your shoulders. Inhale, open your arms, send your heels in line with your feet. Exhale, bring the arms by your side, press down firmly like we did in the beginning through your feet and your shoulders, lift your hips up. Move the block to the side and articulate your spine down one vertebrae at a time. Hug your knees up to your chest. Like we did earlier, circle on your spine, massage your spine. Reverse it. Come to center. Open your arms to a T. Knees are together. Shift your hips right. Let your knees fall to the left. So a little bit more depth into this spinal twist. Inhale, return to the center. Shift your hips to the left. Let your knees fall to the right. Twist. Inhale, return to your back. Hug your knees to your chest. Exhale, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Round and curl your spine. Take your head back down to the floor. One more little stretch. Take your feet to the ceiling. Hold on to the outer foot or the big toe or underneath your foot or your thigh. Bring your tailbone down on the floor, so it might have to shorten your arms somewhere. And we are in happy baby pose. You can rock on your spine, make circles, or just stay in stillness. It's pull your knees on the outside of your rib cage as you lengthen the tailbone down. Breathe in. And then exhale, bring the arms outside, bring your knees to your chest, lift your head and shoulders. Release your head, release your legs. Take a big stretch, arms overhead one more time. Reach in 2 directions. Take a big breath in, and as you empty the breath, let your arms come down by your side. Allow your hips to splay open, allow your palms to face up, or your chest to be open. Take anything you need for your Shavasana, for maybe covering yourself or supporting yourself, something under your knees, the bolster, the blocks, underneath your head, underneath your back, or maybe a cover for your face, your eyes, your body. And as you begin to surrender into your final destination on your mat today, begin to let go of any physical tension that may be remaining there. Start to let go of the thoughts inside of your brain. They're there, but just don't carry on the conversation with them. And as you find some stillness, some peace in your day, carry that feeling with you off your mat, share it with others. Continue to scan your body for any tension. For those of you at home, stay fit, stay healthy.